What's good, YouTube? TCG here, bringing you another deck profile. So today I'll be profiling my EUIC list. I did take Gardevoir with me. I tech the deck specifically, and as I go along with it, I'll explain the text. Sorry it's a bit late. I did get busy with university, so I had to kind of just get that stuff done out of the way. Now I have a little bit of extra time. I can record deck profile and show you kind of what I played, my thoughts on the deck. And yeah, so let's get going. As you can see on the screen, first card they have to talk about is the Gardevoir EX. This card enables the entire deck to work. Without this card, this deck would not work. With its Psychic Embrace ability, as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a Psychic Energy to one of your Psychic Pokemon, and then you put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So this lets you accelerate as many energies as you want from discard pile as often as you like. You can use it once, attach 2, move, carry on with your turn, and then use it again. So it's not limited to once per turn, which is really, really important. Not much else to say about the card. You use it as an attacker sometimes, but most of the time it's just there as the support Pokemon, I guess you can say, quote unquote, because it allows you to accelerate those energies. So moving on, I did play 1 copy of Gallade. So with its body catch ability, you may search your deck for a supporter card. So this lets you get access to cards such as a Judge and other things that I can show later in the deck profile and explain. It's really important. It has 160 HP as well, so it doesn't get knocked out by anything in Lost Box, except for some of the Vs maybe. So you can heal the card and then keep attacking with it. Its attack Swelling Slice 160. Movement energy from one of you to one of your bench Pokemon. It's a really good attack still. You can use it just to soften something up in the early game, then eventually take a KO with Zacian or take a KO with the other card that you're playing, which is the Baby Gardevoir. So with Shining Arcana ability, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck and attach any number of energies you find in there. So you can attach up to maximum of 2 energies, which is really strong. Its attack, Brainwave, that's base 60 plus 30 for every psychic energy. So with 8 psychic energies, you're pretty much knocking out anything you need. It is kind of ideally what you're gonna be attacking with this deck or this version of the deck. That's kind of how I pictured it. This is going to be the main card you're gonna be attacking with the support of the Gallade to help you accelerate through the deck a little bit quicker. Not much else to really say about the card. It performed exactly as I expected it to. Took KOs on the things I wanted to take KOs on. Not when I played in EUIC. Pretty unlucky with my summer matchups, but inside events, this card definitely came in very, very clutch. Moving on, this deck probably wouldn't be nowhere near as good if you didn't have the 4 copies of Curlia. With its refinement ability, you can discard 1 card to draw 2. So, consistency engine. So between this and this, you can basically excavate 4 cards, plus the Gallade as well. You have a lot of draw power. You have decent amount of searchability as well because of the Gallade. But yeah, kind of not much else to say about the card. It's amazing. There's a reason why this deck came second at UIC, and it's thanks to these cards right here. Well, mainly thanks to Curly and the Gardevoir, since Tor's list played very differently to the list kind of I put together. But besides the point, if you want something alternative to play, this could be something that you can consider playing. And yeah, just want to move on. Next card, I played 3 copies of the Rots with its teleportation burst. It's 70 HP, which is the reason why it's played. Plus, it has a good attack as well. Teleportation burst means that in the early game, if you're going second and you get this stuck inactive, you can use it just to go to a Pokemon you rather your opponent KO. Then the Rots, you can kind of set up further. And I did play 1 copy of the Memory Skip Rots right here. This card is super important. I expected there to be a lot of Lugia, a lot of Gudra, and I wasn't expecting the deck that won a USC to be as popular as it was, but this would have definitely been a very good counter to it. So it's a really strong card as a one-off. 60 HP does hurt since this and Mew Lost Zone can knock out with a Sableye. So since they play Horn, they can kind of horn this up and then take 2 KOs at the same time, which is why you have to be careful when you kind of play the card. And really not much else to say about it. Memory Skip's a really good attack into a lot of decks, so definitely use this card as an attacking option. If you can't, then it's another Rolts, right? So you can always use to evolve it. Next, the main attack of the deck, you can kind of say, the Zacian V. It has the exact same attack as the Gardevoir, 60 base plus 30 for every psychic energy attached to it. The only difference is it's a 2-prize Pokemon, and it can do a lot more damage. This guy can do 330 with 9 energy, which is crazy. It can do 300 with 8, which is kind of what you're aiming for. Most of the time, 300 is enough to take a KO. This combo with Sky Sealstone means you can be taking more price cards than you normally would, which is really strong. Roll of the Sword is a really good ability as well, so you can search your deck for a Psychic Energy and attach it to any of your Pokemon. It's not restricted to this card specifically, which is why a lot of people use it. So if someone bosses up something they can't normally retreat, you can use Zacian to put an energy onto it to guarantee that you can retreat the following turn. Next, another card in the draw engine, Greninja. This card's an energy draw too. This deck wants to get energies into the discard pile as quickly as possible. This allows us to do that. Plus, as Greninja, this deck doesn't really actually have a Radiant Pokemon. The only one you can maybe consider is Alakazam with Painful Spoon, so you can move damage counters. So you can allow for better math of this and this, or Serena to heal 30. So these two can do more damage as well, but maybe has other applications. But this is definitely the best Radiant Pokemon for this deck of right now. I do play one copy of Mew. A Mysterious Tail looks at top 6 cards of the deck, sorry, and as an item card. So you can get Battle VIPs with this, you can get rare candies. This is the reason why I play Battle VIP. If this card was not in the deck, I probably would have taken it out. And in favor of kind of maxing out on more of the ball search cards. But so far, Mew has been really good. Especially when I play on live, every single time you use Mew, you hit the Battle VIP. So it's kind of a little spicy interaction that happens every single time without fail, apparently. So yeah, not much else to say about this guy. Just kind of in the early game, you want to get set up. You usually go into him and you let him to be the first KO. Or the next Pokemon that you're playing, which is the Manaphy, with its Wave Veil ability, its Bench Barrier ability, which is very important since Greninja Turbo Lost Zone specifically, since it can get 7 turn 1. You can power up the Greninja and take 2 KOs, which sets you like really far behind. Having the Manaphy ensures that you can kind of set up in the early game, unless they start bossing around, taking Curlius turn after turn, which could get very rough. I did play one tech card, which wasn't too common, or it wasn't really that much of a problem, and then everyone started spreading it towards kind of the end of the day before EUIC, which is one copy of Moel with its Tempting Trap ability. So the idea was that this is going to be a one-off tech to auto-win the Gardevoir mirror match and to auto-win Lugia. Since those decks didn't play cards like Fortin or Penny, they had no way to attack with some of the support Pokemon, which is what happened to me, ironically. I played against the Snorlax Stall deck round 2. And what ended up happening is eventually it gets to a point where he got my my Manaphy onto the bench, he bossed it up, and then permanently stored it with the Moal, and I couldn't do anything about it. I didn't really get to use this. I did scrub, so I can't play 2 rounds, and then I just decided to just drop. But that was both the games. Game one, no match. Sorry, both the rounds. The first round was very unfortunate. Game one, I priced 5 energies. I played against Gudra, which meant I could never take the KO with Zacian. The game came down to him being on 1 price, me being on 3. I had the Zacian Sky Sealstone combo, but I didn't have the extra energy to take the instant KO on Gudra. And then game 2, I judged him into Drapion, Mirage Gate. And then I think it was an energy. So all he needed was an energy recycler and a way to retrieve his comfy, which he got. So kind of bossed up my Gardevoir, took the KO, won the game from there. Very unfortunate. Like I said, and then round 2, I hit stall. I lost game 1 since the start of Mew. Game dragged out quite long, and then game 2, I whiffed majority of my ball search cards, so I couldn't fill up my bench with the Rolts, the Zacians. And I had the Moal, so you kind of have the full bench, so and you just take KOs. Moal does 90, which is a 2-hit KO, plus you can Tempting Trap and then take an extra, and just do extra damage. So this will do effectively 180, which is really strong. You know much to say about it. Looking back on it, I would have probably taken the same list. If I got more favorable matchups, I guess you can say, maybe I'd have done a lot better, but it is what it is. I can't get mad about it. It just happens. Gudra ended up being like a really strong deck for the tournament. Makes sense. It's a really tanky deck that can heal. So kind of just want to move on to items. I try to kind of max out as much as possible, but the space just doesn't allow it. So I played full bio VIPs. Like I said, with the Mew, you can search it, or you can excavate it, potentially hit it. So you have more options to hit the battle VIP. It's ideally when you get start with, so you can battle VIP your Greninja, your Rolts to get as many Rolts down as possible. So you can start evolving to Curlier, so you can start drawing as many cards as you need to get set up and start taking kills. I did play also 4 level balls. It searches for Curlier, searches for Rolts, it searches for these 3 Pokemon here as well. It's just a worse version, I guess you can say, of Battle VIP. Or I guess not worse, but it's kind of another version of Battle VIP to set up in the early game. Turn 2, you're going to be using it to find your Curlier, so you can start discarding and draw cards. I played 3 copies of Fog Crystal right here. It's it searches for a basic psychic Pokemon or basic psychic energy. So in the early game, you can use it to get, like I said, the Mawile, the Mew, or the Rolts. And in the late game, you're using it to grab energies to discard the Curlier or of the next card I play, which is the Ultra Ball. And Ultra Ball is, again, here for reason to find kind of the higher end, which is going to be the Gardevoirs, right here, the Gallades, sometimes the Curliers. And yeah, so you can discard 2. So ideally, you want to discard energies, Battle VIP, or dead cards in matchups. And to help out as well, I played 1 copy of Hisuian Heavy Ball. This is kind of ideally here to search out Disaster. A lot of times you find yourself prizing at least 1 Rolt or the Manaphy. So the 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball just allows you to get these cards out of prizes without trying to hit them. It's more of a guarantee as well. Opening up is very good because you can check your prizes, so you can save yourself time instead of going through your entire deck to find what prized. It just shows you everything, so it's pretty useful for that reason. This is the kind of the baby version of Gardevoir. So I did play the Red Candies. Sorry, it's not the Mewtwo Union version. It's kind of baby Gardevoir version. So you play 3 Red Candies. You want to accelerate. This allows you to skip instantly to Gardevoir EX, so you can go on the offense, or the small Gardevoir, the Gallade. Gallade then searches your card, which can get you another Red Candy. Spoilers if you can figure out ahead of time. Kudos to you. Card's really strong. I don't see the reason why you wouldn't play it. Maybe you can cut down to 2, but I found 3 to be pretty consistent to hit turn 2, so you can start going the offense as quickly as possible. I did play 1 Rescue Carrier in the early game. You may get very unfortunate. Lost Box can take the 2 KOs, and you can Rescue Carrier to add the cards back to hand. You can use Rescue Carrier as well to essentially get you 2 cards in the late game as well to hand. So you don't have to you don't have to make hard choices with Curlier. You can just Curlier, Rescue Carrier the cards back into your hand. I've had games where I would Curlier away my own Curliers and just Rescue Carrying them back to hand, play them down, and then you potentially get more cards you can actually thin out. So it allows for that kind of easier choice. It does also mean that you can recycle the Rolts without using your supporters. This is kind of like the only way you can recycle cards. You can recycle Pokemon, sorry, through item cards at the moment. As of next set, you have Super Rod, which makes a huge difference for this deck. Then kind of round up items. 1 copy of Power Pad, so I can shove back supporters. With the Gallade, this card becomes increasingly better since I kind of used up all the copies. Power Pad them back in, and then Gallade can search them out instantly. I respected Lost Box. I played the 1 Emergency Jelly. The idea is with Jelly, you just put it on the small Gardevoir, you attach 6 energies, so it goes to 120, heal it fully, and it just goes and everything. Or you go in with Gardevoir EX, you attack, they hit you twice, then you attach as many energies you need to proc the Emergency Jelly, just so you can take an extra hit on top of that. And then the 1 Sky Seal Stone for Zacian, so you can take an extra KO. You can take extra prizes of your KO against Pokemon V or Pokemon V Star or V. So against decks like Mew, you would have a pretty easy game plan. You would take 2 KOs. You take 2 prizes, sorry, off a KO, and then you would Zacian and Sky Sealstone for the final 4. That way you dodge the Roxanne turn. Against a lot of decks as well, since a lot of decks play V-Star cards, this allows you to fall behind early and then catch up late because of the Sky Sealstone. Kind of want to move on to supporters, since this deck revolves a little bit more around supporters with the Gallade. So firstly, I played 2 copies of Judge. Hand disruption is really good. Lost Box was very popular. As expected, Lugia is very popular as well. Sometimes a Judge into a bad hand and just steal you the game, which is pretty important. 2 copies of Boss's Orders. So what you'd commonly see is Boss plus Serena. I expected there to be have more decks that are not V centric, so I just chose to play the second boss. This did work out. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, I did terribly, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, the second boss definitely does come up a lot, especially since you can prize 1. and then Gallade can fetch you the other one. In those situations, like if you watch the finals of EUIC, Tord missed the boss, and because he missed the boss, he lost game 2. If he did play double boss, he could have potentially stole the game and won the entire tournament. So yeah, I mean, kind of take it as you will. Card's really good. It's a gusting option. You can choose any of your opponent's bench Pokemon and put it into the active. So Zacian can just take a KO on it. This small Gardevoir can take a KO on it. Gardevoir EX, you can just target out key cards of an engine. Now to kind of move on to the one-offs. I played one worker. This deck does lose Path to the Peak, which is very popular in a lot of decks, especially Mew and Arceus variants. Not much else to say about it. Draw free, discard a stadium is pretty good as well. In a worst case scenario, you can just use it as a draw free. I did play one copy of Oven, which is kind of like I said, the other tech option because of the Gallade. So I ideally want to hit Gallade first and then use Oven to get Jelly and then Red Candy to Red Candy into Gardevoir. Also, if you're going second, you potentially can get to a turn where you can open up Oven to get Battle VIP, so you can guarantee yourself a Battle VIP. I played Clara. I didn't play Miriam. I didn't like Miriam too much in this deck. Clara just guarantees you get the cards you need into your hand. So if they take a KO on your Gardevoir EX, you can just Clara back into your hand. Same with Zacian. Whereas with the like a name Miriam, you shuffle back into the deck and you draw 3. I kind of just wanted to just guarantee that I get the cards I need whenever I need it. And then the last tech card I kind of played was the Cheryl. Cheryl was just here for Lost Box. Gardevoir EX is a tanky Pokemon. 110 HP, not a lot of things can just instantly KO it. And yeah, so it heals all your evolution Pokemon. So it heals all these guys right here. And the guys as well. Sometimes that matters. But it removes all energies. So sometimes as well in cases, they would boss up a Pokemon when you use up all your energies. And I would surprise them with a Cheryl to get rid of all the energies. And attach them, switch, and just take a KO. And then to kind of round things up, I played 2 copies of 10%. I didn't play Collapsed. I just wanted to maximize my win rates against Mew and Lugia, which probably was definitely the correct call. Those decks were very popular. Against Lost Box, Collapsed maybe comes up, but it doesn't come up too often enough for me to kind of play it, as I played around with this deck a lot on stream. In my spare time as well, I just found that I preferred the double Temple of Sinnoh. Maybe I'll change it to Collapse now. Now the Gardevoir is more popular, but I mean, this is going to change a lot anyways in the next coming weeks, especially with the release of Clay Burst, which just version of the deck changes completely. And then to finish our deck profile, I played the standard, I guess you could say expected, 11 energy count. So yeah, I've always been a fan of the 11. 11 felt perfectly fine. Said now decks are moving towards playing 12 just because you have that extra energy they can surprise your opponent with. A lot of people are expecting 11 energies, so they'll just count your energies. And then if you run out of energies, they'll boss up something like a Greninja, and you'll be stranded active forever. And you can't do anything about it. You could Clara the energy back in, which is another good reason to play the Clara, which is the reason I play the Miriam, since not every single list played the Clara. A lot of versions did, but it wasn't exactly guaranteed to be in every single list. And yeah, so tell me guys what you think of this deck. I said I'm still gonna be playing Gardevoir going forwards. There's another deck I've been enjoying a lot as well, which I aim to profile a little bit later. I was ideally gonna get the cards on Monday, but the person I got the cards off forgot them, so I kind of have to delay it till following Monday. And yeah, so that's kind of that. Like I said, I always appreciate feedback. Always aim to improve deck profiles. I fixed the quality of the deck profiles a little bit, but it's still very blurry. So I might want to consider getting a better camera or try to change up the angle so everything looks a bit clearer. So the carousel on the left is also used kind of as a tool to show cards, but you can see everything clearly. And yeah, I'll just see you in the next video. See ya.